Breaking news, a Minnesota judge has just sentenced the mastermind behind the Feeding Our Future fraud scheme, Aimee Bock. She just got more than 41 years in prison.
Aimee Bock, the ringleader behind the $250 million Minnesota fraud scheme tied to the nonprofit organization Feeding Our Future, reveals during a jailhouse interview that she struggles to believe that Ilhan Omar wouldn't have known about it.
Medicaid programs that have been systematically pilfered by fraudsters who treated Minnesota-run programs as their personal piggy bank.
The man's name, Muhammad Omar. He is charged by indictment with one count as conspiracy to commit healthcare fraud. Authorities reported that Omar jumped from a fourth-floor balcony as law enforcement closed in on him today. And he scampered away right here, limping with an apparent leg injury.
The CEO of Future Leaders Early Learning Daycare in Minneapolis was also indicted in February. Prosecutors say she falsely claimed to serve thousands of meals through the federal nutrition program tied to Feeding Our Future.
And now my message to the fraudsters is this: eat, drink, and be merry today, because your days of frolicking and freedom are numbered.
Big news coming out of Minnesota. Aimee Bock was sentenced to 41 and a half years for her role in a $200 million Feeding Our Future fraud. But here's the thing. They call it a mastermind, but she's not the only name that keeps coming up. Let's get into it.
There was that conservative influencer who went out and posted this video that went viral alleging that daycare facilities were pocketing public funds.
Yeah, and as you know, he went hours where these businesses were not operating.
Yep, CBS went out and did its own
again
investigation.
creates the level of confusion and chaos that is not necessary in a moment when we are trying to deal with a serious problem that needs serious people to be able to address it.
The CEO of Future Leaders Early Learning Daycare in Minneapolis was also indicted in February. Prosecutors say she falsely claimed to serve thousands of meals through the federal nutrition program tied to Feeding Our Future. That's the pandemic-era food aid fraud scheme involving $250 million and dozens of people charged.
Here at Future Leaders Early Learning Center, this building received...
Future Leaders Early Learning was featured in a viral video by influencer Nick Shirley.
We have the unfortunate distinction of bringing to being the place that brought to national attention the fraud committed against governments across the United States. Governments that turned the other way, either deliberately or negligently, while it was happening under their noses. The truth is, Feeding Our Future is only a start, and we believe it's only a small fraction of the fraud that is actually ongoing here in the state of Minnesota.
So let's talk about this. The U.S. Attorney is standing there telling you guys and everyone that the government knew, that this was not an elaborate scheme that happened in the shadows and nobody could see it. People in power watched this unfold and looked the other way. Deliberately or negligently, those are his words. And the distinction matters because one situation is being totally incompetent and the other one is to be completely complicit. Either way, someone has to answer to it. We're talking about the $250 million in taxpayer money, programs that are designed to help feed children during the pandemic, all gone. And the people who were supposed to be watching the store either didn't see it or didn't want to. So Aimee Bock is going to be in prison for a very long time, which is a good thing. But there's no way she did this alone. And the question this whole video is going to answer is, where is everyone else's accountability?
This was not a paperwork error. It was not a technical violation. This was organized threat, organized theft that exploited the most vulnerable children in America. Deceive families, every fraudulent autism diagnosis, steal time, care, and resources from the children for whom this program was denied and who desperately need this care.
This is important because I already know what the defense is going to be. It's always the same thing. Oh, well, this was an administrative issue. This was an error. Someone messed up. The system was too confusing. No, the Secretary of Homeland Security is standing there telling you that this was an organized situation. That means someone sat down, made a plan, and deliberately targeted children with autism and homeless people to run a scheme. These weren't mistakes. These were decisions. And the reason that matters is because when something is organized, there are organizers. There are people above Aimee Bock, the true mastermind. masterminds, the people who really knew what was going on, the people who benefited, and some of those have titles. Some of those people hold office. We need to know who they were, and we need them to face accountability just like this person. She should not be the only one getting a prison sentence. But real quick, if you like this type of content, hit subscribe, hit the bell, like, hype, all those good things. 86.5% of you who are watching this video right now are not subscribed. Do me a big favor and hit that subscribe button right now so you will never miss a video. Let's get back into it.
One of the programs has been completely shut down because there's no money left. It's all gone. These disabled individuals were used like lottery tickets by these defendants to generate millions of dollars.
That program was the Housing Stabilization Services Program. It was supposed to cost $2.5 million a year to help homeless people find and keep housing. By 2024, fraud have driven the cost up to $104 million, a 50x explosion. And because the money was gone, Minnesota had to shut the whole thing down in 2025. So the homeless people that the program was built to serve, they have nothing. Same with the autism program. Started at $600,000 a year, ballooned to over $400 million because of the fraud. Program was canceled. So real kids with real autism lost access to real care. For those who know about this, who have kids that have autism or grandkids, how do you feel when something like this happens? Because that's what this fraud actually costs. Not just a number on a spreadsheet. Actual human beings losing the services they needed because someone decided to treat the government programs like their personal ATM. Remember that every time someone tries to minimize what happened here.
Aimee Bock, the ringleader behind the $250 million Minnesota fraud scheme tied to the nonprofit organization Feeding Our Future, reveals during a jailhouse interview that she struggles to believe that Ilhan Omar wouldn't have known about it. Omar's name appeared at least 6 times in this fraud case, according to federal court documents. First of all, she had 6 email exchanges with Omar, okay?
So this is Aimee Bock, someone who just got sentenced to 41.5 years in jail. Speaking from jail, saying that she finds it hard to believe that Ilhan Omar didn't know. This is the ringleader of the largest fraud scheme in Minnesota history, who has every reason to be careful about what she says at this point, telling you that Omar's name is all over this. We know that it's not just her saying it. Federal court documents reference Omar's name at least 6 times. There were documented email exchanges. This isn't speculation. This is a paper trail. And yet Omar doesn't want to testify. She doesn't want to answer questions. For someone who's claimed to have no involvement, she's working very hard to stay as far away from the microphone as possible. The question is, why?
Bock sobbed in the courtroom and said, "I understand I failed the public, my family, and everyone."
She mentions that in, I think, one of her quotes, she says that there's like 80 to 90 people that have been charged. She's the only white one.
So look, I'm going to be straight with you guys. That quote from her is not an accident. Bock is making a very deliberate point. She's saying, I'm the one that's going to prison for 41 years. I'm the one with the $243 million in restitution hanging over my head. And I'm the only one in this entire case that looks like me. 80 to 90 people charged, and she's calling out the disparity. Other people knew what's going on. Yes, she ran the scheme and she deserves what she got, but she's asking a very legitimate question. Who else knew? Who else benefited? Who else had their names and documents and still walked around free, getting reelected, going on TV? Ilhan Omar has not been charged, but her name is in the paperwork, and at some point that has to be answered. Also, there have to be other people beyond Ilhan Omar. There's no way $250 million just flies out the door and only Aimee Bock was the one moving things around. It doesn't happen. So Aimee Bock is going to prison, 41.5 years, $243 million in restitution. I don't see how she's going to pay that back, considering that she'll be in jail for 41 years. And she's sitting in a jail cell saying that Ilhan Omar knew. Omar's name is in federal documents. There were emails. And Omar won't testify. That's the biggest point. She will not speak to what's going on. She's probably lowering up. She realizes this is going to be an issue for her in the future. So we'll continue to follow this story. This story is far from closed. I mean, even look what happened earlier with a guy trying to escape federal custody.
The man's name, Muhammad Omar. He is charged by indictment with 1 count of conspiracy to commit healthcare fraud, 4 counts of healthcare fraud in connection to a $3+ million housing stabilization scheme. Authorities reported that Omar jumped from a 4th floor balcony as law enforcement closed in on him today, and he scampered away right here, limping with an apparent leg injury. Officials asked for assistance at that news conference. They wanted to find him. They didn't know where where he was. They wanted him back in custody.
This is going to continue to get bigger and bigger, and we're going to follow it every step of the way. Let me know what you guys think about this story in the comments below. Thank you for taking time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.